because a man will leave or a man will take advantage of you. You know, my grandmother was married 3 times. She, divorced all 3 husbands.
Single women keep women single.
Right? Like that's the stronghold she got from watching her parents or her grandparents or whoever that was live their life, right? So she was taught, okay, I gotta always look out for me, 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 me.
You're tuned in to Kaz TV.
Think was probably the biggest contributor to the breakdown of the marriage is that I never could relax and trust him. I always felt like my grandmother told me, you always look out for yourself. You never allow someone else to be in control of your destiny because a man will leave or a man will take advantage of you. You know, my grandmother was married 3 times. She, divorced all 3 husbands. And, I was in love with him. That was my pop. And his wife at the time, his ex-wife took him to court to get more child support because my grandmother, was a good earner. She worked for the post office. She made good money. And at the point that her check was compromised, my grandmother divorced him immediately. She's like, he got to go. So that was my background. And it was like, men are not a necessity and you never rely on them completely. And so that was how I was raised. My mother was single. I never saw my mother in a...
Man.
Sad.
Yeah.
Single women keep women single. I don't know if it's misery loves company. I don't know if the water's been poisoned and they think everyone else is going to catch the same. That is so sad to me that a young woman's optimism and joy at the thought of having a husband got poisoned from the time she was a young girl. That makes me very sad. And it makes me more determined that divorce is never an answer. Okay? It's never an answer. I have a friend who wrote a book called Impossible Marriages Redeemed. She took a bunch of stories from a bunch of people whose marriages were ready to end, and they stuck it out, and there ended up being an ending.
Yeah. But I think also like just especially addressing that video, man, and I don't think this is talked about enough. That woman there that was saying her piece, right? That's a stronghold, right? Like that's a stronghold she got from watching her parents or her grandparents or whoever that was live their life, right? So she was taught, okay, I gotta always look out for me, 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 right? And if we're being honest, that's not kingdom. There's nothing about that is kingdom, right? So when you have a stronghold set around your mindset, right? That means when somebody does give you the word, right? The actual word talking about submit to your husband or y'all are now one in every aspect of your life, or all these different things, you immediately reject it because you spent so many years, whether it was trauma, whether it was past experiences, whether it was your own personal experiences, whether it was the culture, fortifying that mindset, right? That stronghold. So now when God wants you to do it a certain way, you always fighting back at it, right? And I think a lot of times, men and women, right, we've created strongholds in our life that tells us, man, I don't need a man, or I don't need a woman, or this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how I'm supposed to be like this, right? And we got to break those strongholds down, right? Like that's the only way we have a chance at having a successful marriage and passing down good blessings to our children and children's children, right? Is by first saying, okay, these thoughts that I'm having in my head, right? About relationships, about finances, about anything, where is this stemming from, right? Is this coming from kingdom? Is this the Bible? Or is it culture? Or am I jaded because I had a bad experience that's now teaching me to do everything differently, right? You got to first recognize where is this stronghold over my life? And then you got to respond with it with the word, right? You got to use, literally, it tells us in the word that the word is used to tear down strongholds. But if you don't use it, like, don't be mad when you're still going through the same cycle over and over and over again. So yeah, your grandmother was married and divorced 3 times, and you're just repeating the cycle because you have that same mindset that she taught you, right? Versus saying, no, God, I'm gonna actually do it your way, right? I'm gonna try to live my life, have my marriage, do all these things in alignment with the kingdom, right? Are you gonna have to die to yourself? Best
But
believe it.
someone's got to speak out. Someone's
Yeah,
got to be the one to say to that girl, yeah, your grandma did you wrong by telling you that. And if
yeah.
that's what you're doing, you got to stop. And for the current atmosphere is you can't tell a woman she's doing anything wrong. And you're mean, you're cruel, you're bullying, you're not accepting. We tell men they're doing wrong all the time. It's why you guys are reduced, sadly, to pocketbooks and checkbooks at this time, which I think protection and provision is super important, but you guys are not checkbooks. Okay? Women have reduced men to checkbooks, but you can't tell the woman anything. It is a rare woman that realizes she needs some help to break those past things that she was done wrong, sold wrong. And yeah, I don't think enough pastors say it. Why? I don't know. Eh, Women go to church a lot and they put a lot of money in the collection plate if they don't have anything else in their life, right? Very feminized, very much a feminization of the church. They get their kids there, they get the single women there, they get them all rolling. That's where they come for their social stuff on the weekends. Someone's got to have the guts, and I try to be the one to have the guts to say, no, you're wrong. That's not the way to do it. And
Mhm.
it's not going to lead to long-term happiness. And I'm going to say it because I'm old. I don't care anymore. Number two, I'm going to raise my children differently. And not just in what I tell them, in how I live my life.